Hey y'all, Jessica here, the Furry Family Coach and CuriousKitty.com. Y'all, I had an incredibly interesting discussion with my vet yesterday. Of course, we're here today because this is the second day I'm coming to talk to you and share with you my journey to a raw diet for my pets. And I want to tell you about this incredibly interesting conversation that I had with my vet yesterday. I found out some really surprising stuff, and I want to share all of that with you. So before I get into the conversation that I had with my vet yesterday, let's just recap real quick where we left off yesterday. So I am transitioning to a raw diet for my pets, both my cats and my dogs. So I am chronicling this journey because I know that there are so many other people out there who have heard good things about going raw, but have also heard some maybe not so good things about going raw, and you're just not sure if you should do it, you're not sure how to do it, and I want to share with you my experience from not raw to getting to a raw diet, so that hopefully you can see how easy it's going to be, and you can implement it with your pets as well. So yesterday I came on and I left you with 3 big questions that I had. Those questions were: 1, how am I going to find a high quality meat, a quality that's going to be like good enough to actually feed it raw? And so that's one of the questions. The second question is, how am I going to be sure that my pets are getting the vitamins and minerals, all of the nutrients that they need to sustain life? That's the second big question. And my third question primarily had to do with my cats, because cats in the wild hunt often throughout the day, so they eat small meals often throughout the day. And so I was curious as to how I'm going to continue to replicate that with a raw diet. So let me just say that first off, this conversation, guys, that I had with my vet, I went in and I already had the appointment set up because I took one of my cats, Machida, in. I just wanted to get him a wellness checkup and get a couple of areas. He's got long hair, so he was not letting me brush him in a couple of areas, so I felt they were sensitive, so I wanted the vets to help me with, clipping the hair in those areas, just to make sure he didn't have any matting going on. Turned out to be all good. He's healthy, happy camper, and they just, did some sanitary clipping, and we were all good to go. But while I was there, I said, hey, I am interested. My husband and I have had the conversation. We've decided we want to go raw. What do you think about that? And I have to tell you, when I went in, I had almost had myself convinced that she was gonna look at me and go, why in the world would you want to do that? And I guess that's because I have seen so many other videos where people, especially veterinarians, are like, gosh, no, why would you do that? And that's because, well, I'll talk to you about why that is later on, but I was really shocked and surprised. She looked at me and she was like, yeah, cool. Like, I used to feed my cats raw. And so I knew she had cats, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. What did you feed them? She was like, yeah, I used to feed them raw, but honestly, I've just gotten really lazy lately, and I'm not doing it. I'm like, okay. So that was the first, like, kind of surprising moment, and I get that. Like, it can take up a little bit of time. For me, I have a routine down with my pet food already, and I don't feel like it's going to take up any more time than it already is, and really it doesn't take that much time. By the time I could make an extra trip to the pet store, pick out the food I want, wait in line, check out, get it back home. Like, all my prep is already done for the food that I make for my pets. So I don't feel like I'm going to be putting any extra time of my life into this. This is, I honestly don't even feel like I'm going to be putting any more money into it than I would buying commercially made pet foods either. So she was like, yeah, I just got lazy. And I was like, well, cool. Well, what did you feed them? I'm really curious to find out. And this was the biggest shocker of all. Just, I'm warning you ahead of time. This was like the biggest shock to me. She was like, yeah, so I just got ground turkey and I mixed it with, I cooked some polenta, and I would mix that in with the raw ground turkey. I would add in a couple of eggs and then, you know, some vitamins, and they loved it. And I looked at her and I was like, polenta is corn. And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, well, they're not supposed to have corn. And she's like, well, they loved it. Like, and I get that. I totally get that. And so my initial reaction was like, whoa, WTF, like, whoa. And now that I've had time to think about it, I actually have a little bit of a different feeling towards it. But that was like, I was really blown away by this conversation I had with her because of those two things. First off, that she was like, yeah, cool, feed raw. I was surprised with that. And then that she's feeding her cats polenta, or she was feeding her cats polenta. So that was the big takeaway that I had with my conversation with my vet yesterday. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And I also, because I had those 3 big questions, I said, hey, you know, I'm concerned about feeding my cats often enough, because I know in the wild they hunt and eat like throughout the day. They eat small amounts throughout the day, and you know, that's fine now because cats that eat kibble can graze all day and all night. Like, that's how most cats eat. So I obviously can't leave raw food down. What should I do? And she's like, oh, feed them 2 or 3 times a day. It's fine. That's all they need. And I'm like, really, seriously? And she was like, yeah, I mean, I only did it twice a day. And I was like, well, I could do it 3 times a day because I work from home. You know, I'm really fortunate that I get to work from home, so I could do it 3 times a day. And she's like, I mean, if you want to do it 3 times a day, go ahead, but really, you only need to do it twice. And I was like, okay, cool. So I came home, talked to my husband about it, and we looked up online, and I found this article from Cornell University that was cooperating with my vet, saying, yeah, twice a day is good for healthy adult cats, which I have all healthy adult cats. So if you're interested in finding out more about how often to feed your cat, I'm actually going to put a link below this video as soon as I'm done, where you can go read about it some more on my blog. And yeah, so those were the big takeaways so far from our journey to feeding a raw diet to our pets. So that pretty much answered one of my 3 main questions. So I still have 2 main questions: finding a high grade of meat that's going to be suitable to feed raw, and making sure they get all the vitamins and minerals, all the nutrients that they need to sustain life. And again, this is both for my dogs and my cats. So I've actually already started looking into the nutrient portion, and I am going to come back on here live tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to you about that because I found this really awesome video, and I don't want to give it away because I want you to join me back here tomorrow, but we're going to talk about ketones a little bit, and that might be a new word for a lot of you guys, unless you are in the physical fitness industry or nutrition industry. That might be a new word to you. So stick with me because tomorrow I'm really going to start diving into the nutrient part of a raw diet. We're going to talk about ketones, and I'm going to share with you a lot of information that I found out about switching over to a raw diet for my pets and making sure that it is nutritionally balanced. So again, talking about today, I answered the question about how often I should be feeding my cats, and I'm going to put a link below as soon as this video is over to a blog post that I just finished writing before I came on live with you, so you can click on that and read a little bit more about how often you should feed your cats. And join me back here tomorrow so we can talk more about nutrition and making sure that your dogs and cats are going to receive the adequate nutritional value that they need, all the vitamins and minerals, proteins, everything that they need. We'll talk about that more tomorrow, so I will see you guys back here, Facebook Live, tomorrow.